many of you have some major goals you'd like to achieve? Raise your hands, please. Very good. Shake someone's hand on your right and left. Look them in the eyes and say with conviction, you have greatness in you. Do that right now. Say, you have greatness in you. I like to ask the question, how many of you have goals you'd like to achieve? And most people raise their hands. But I want to ask you another question. And I've been reflecting on this question in my own life. I am a 21-year prostate cancer conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. And trust me, it's better to be seen than to be viewed. Can you feel it, brother? Up in here. But I'm reflecting on my life, at this stage of my life. I'm 72, and I used to think people in their 40s were old. Now that I'm 72, I feel like I was a waiter at the Lord's Supper. But how many of you know, as you think about it, that if you had your life to live over again, you could have done more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands, please. Now, that proves the point that what we do and what we accomplish in life is only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for us. So I want you to think about your goals in three areas. I want you to think about your personal goal. What's some personal goal you like to achieve? Mine is, because this is my 21st year of conquering cancer, that 7 is my lucky number. 3 times 7 is 21. So before this year is out, cancer will be out of my life. That's my commitment to myself. By my mindset, by my prayers, my meditation, by the choices that I make and how I take care of myself, my exercise, all of those things. I have a battle plan. I want you to think about some personal goal for yourself. My first personal goal was to buy my mother a home. I'm one of 7 children that my mother adopted. And she only had a 3rd grade education. And I have a twin brother, Wesley. I'm on your left. I'm the cute one. And then she adopted 5 other children. She used to work for wealthy families on Miami Beach, and I used to follow her around. I'm a mama's boy. And I used to say, Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. And she said, Leslie, you don't have to do that. I said, I know, but I want to. I stand on the stage because of 2 women. One gave me life. The other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And so I wanted to take care of her. I wanted to provide for her. She used to cook for wealthy families on Miami Beach. And we ate the food left over from those families that she cooked for. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can pack it up and take it home to those 7 children that you have adopted. Altogether, 7 children. And she kept their children. And we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And my dream at that time, Mama, when I become a man, I'm going to be able to buy clothes for us that no one has ever worn before. When I become a man, I'm going to be able to buy groceries for us that we don't have to wait till someone would eat and then hope that there's something left over. And I'm going to take special care of you. How many have somebody that you'd like to do something special for? Raise your hands, please. Let me share with you how I did that. Now I want you to think about your financial freedom number. What does that look like? Pull that up for yourself. Your financial freedom number. Write it down. What is that? That once you do that, once you accomplish that, you become debt-free. I can tell you it's a good feeling. You become debt-free. You have more time for yourself. It gives you more choices. I love to travel. You know, I've been to over 50 different countries, you know. People talk about making America great again. Trust me, we are the greatest on the planet. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Trust me on that. I don't care where I go abroad and have a real good time. When I come through customs, I'm singing God Bless America. Let me tell you. And so you can donate to causes that you believe in. As you think about your financial freedom number, it alleviates a lot of stress in your life. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. A friend of mine named Rita Davenport said money ain't important, but it's right up there with oxygen. And let me tell you something, fellas, even if you're as homely as I am, you got some money, women will find something cute on you. Oh, he's got earlobes like Tom Cruise, honey. He's got a walk like Denzel Washington. I used to be so broke I could walk past a bank and trip the alarm. Creditors would call my house and my children would answer the phone and say, my daddy say he ain't home. And sometimes they would catch me. If I speak to Les Brown, I'm sorry, but he's not here. You sound like Les Brown. Don't you go there, big boy. Poverty sucks. I'm telling you. So as you think about your financial freedom number, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And I didn't stutter. I found, based upon my own experience, that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they do what I did for 14 years, aim too low and hit. And most people don't aim at all. No one could have told me, given my circumstances, given my beginning, both my birth parents came in here right now, would not know either one. No one could have told me, based upon the fact that when I was in the 5th grade, I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failed again when I was in the 8th grade and no college training, that I would be able to do what I'm doing now. I talked myself out of it. I had a friend who talked to me, and I just could not believe that I could do this because I was living out of my memory. There's a book called Learn Optimism. And in this book, Seelman talk about the fact that between the ages of 0 and 5, we determine what's available to us and what's not available because of our environment, because of the conversations we hear, because of what we see and what we observe. I remember doing a tour years ago with President Donald Trump. It's called Billionaires in Training, and he was talking with some reporters and said that his father only gave him $14 million for his dream. Let me tell you something. If I knew my father and he gave me $14 million, that would be my dream. How many of you had $14 million for your dream? You got a good shot. Raise your hands, please. All right, and he was lamenting that. Only $14 million. Man, give me a break. And so, but as you think about yourself and think about your goals and dreams, you know, my mother gave us 2 pieces of sugar cane. Anybody ever had any sugar cane? Raise your hand, please. You ever had any sugar cane? Yeah, you're going to love sugar cane after I get through. Yeah, she gave us 2 pieces of sugar cane. This is in Liberty City. I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with Wesley, my twin brother, and we were adopted by Mrs. Mamie Brown. And something happened for me. Something happened. Special moments in life that can change the trajectory of your life. There's a movie by Denzel Washington called There's Before This and There's After This. And after this, nothing will ever be the same again. And I was working at a radio station in Columbus, Ohio, as a disc jockey. But before that, I met a guy named Leroy Washington. I eulogized him last year. I went in his class looking for a friend of mine named MacArthur Stevens. He said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. I said, why not? I'm not one of your students. He said, go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. The other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. He said, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And the kids erupted in laughter. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. He looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And you are agents of change. You are dealers of hope. The work that you do matters to families. Over 300 million prospects. I want to ask you a question. What are you looking at? Because a lot of people perhaps was like me. I was looking at my shortcomings. I don't have a 4-color brochure. I don't believe that anybody will harm me. And there are people out there competing with PhDs and all type of degrees that I don't have. And they have money that I don't have. And years of corporate experience. And so I didn't think I could do what I'm doing now, because I wasn't looking at me. At me. I remember when I saw the first infomercial that Tony Robbins did called Personal Power. And I watched the television intensely, and I sent Gunther Rinker a letter saying, my name is Les Brown. I'd like for you to look at my work, and I'd like to do an infomercial with you guys. And they sent me a letter back saying, you're very good, but no. And they said no because I had the complexion of rejection and Tony had the complexion of connection. And so I had a choice. I could become angry. I could become bitter. I don't have someone spending millions of dollars for me to be seen around the world every hour, half hour around the world. And so I watched Tony and I noticed something. I want you to write this down. Find a way to win. Find a way to win. Tony does a great program. He trained people and speak to people to go do his firework, his firewalk. So I said, how can I compete with somebody that has millions of dollars that I don't have to promote them? And so guess what I did? I focused on changing people's lives. That's my objective. When I speak, my focus is to change your story. How we live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. When you speak to your clients, you distract, dispute, and inspire them. You distract them from their current story and how they see themselves, how they see you, how they see your service. And you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them and create a thirst to do business with you. Your story is very important. There's a saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. But if you know how to strategically tell your story, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. Am I making sense to you? Write this down. Confidence. The 3 C's that fuels referrals. I get over 3,000 a year. I have no brochure. Over 3,000 requests a year. Number 1 is confidence. When you speak, when you tell your story, you speak with confidence. You own it. Because people, as you know, do business with people they know, like, and trust. Next thing is competence. There's a difference between being in the insurance business and the business being in you. You own it. When you speak, as Jay talked about, 10,000 hours. The average person spends around 2,500 hours on something that they have an interest in. But the people who master it, they spend 10,000 hours. There's no speaker on the planet, no brag, that will outwork me, outstudy me, read 2 to 3 books a month. I don't have a college education. I can't afford not to. And so people can tell when you own it. I was talking to John, who they sent up to escort me down here. I said, tell me, what do you like about this? He said, I get to serve people. He said, I love it. I look forward to it. He's a man after my own heart. And so, confidence. Next is not only that we have to have confidence and competence, but caring. Customers can smell commission breath. They can smell it a mile away. What's the saying? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I want to apologize for my perspiration. I got to watch my words. The injection, the cancer therapy that I received, I have hot flashes. And so, John Leslie, where's my son? Let's give my son John Leslie a round of applause, please. Thank you. Give me some tissue, so yeah. And so I used to laugh at my mother and my sister having hot flashes. Now I have them. I put the cover on, I take the cover off. Put the cover on, I take the cover off. Yes. And so, thank you so much. Yes. Oh, isn't that special? Oh, yeah. Oh. He's trying to compete with Kristan. All right. Michael Jordan is considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But he never won a championship without Phil Jackson. There are moments in your life, things can happen. And I met a guy, this guy, Mike Williams. Mike Williams, he wrote this, and write this book down. You can order it on Amazon. I wrote the foreword to it. The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, hey, Brownie. He said, you know what? You can do more than be a DJ. I said, I can. Mike Williams saw this, Les Brown, before I did. You know the value of a coach? A coach can bring out stuff in you that you don't see because you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So I didn't see this Les Brown. I did not know this Les Brown existed. Why the Master's program is so important for those of you that are serious and ready for the breakthrough to go to that next level. So what he did for me, he helped me to connect to and get access to this Les Brown that you now see. I had no idea from that time to this time. And I've been doing this now. First of all, don't I look good for 72? Come on, give it up, give it up. Come on, more applause, more applause. Now, the reason I want you to applaud, see, is that, do you notice that little gray patch up there? The reason I look so young, I don't dye my hair, I have an allergic reaction, but I do use mascara to cover the gray. Oh, behave, whatever. Look at it. Let me tell you something. I'll never forget. I have no shave now. Some of y'all going to need a paintbrush, all right? I've been perspiring back there. I got to take hitters. That day I couldn't find an open Walgreens, all right? Well, let me tell you this. I had to speak in the Georgia Dome. Write this down. This is your homework. How many of you want to finish strong? Raise your hands, please. Good. I'm going to share something with you. Finish strong. I want to tell you. I want you to go on YouTube, and I want you to watch something every day. Thank you. For 90 days. It's called Les Brown Speaking in the Georgia Dome. I'm speaking to over 80,000 people, and it's called It's Not Over Until You Win. Over 80,000 people. You watch this every day. Now, I'm telling you what I know. How many of you are ready to make your first million? Raise your hands, please. Fantastic. I've done it 65 times. So I'm going to tell you. But anyhow, when I spoke in the Georgia Dome, a lady came afterwards and said, Mr. Brown, do you have enough energy to give another speech? I said, no, I'm tired. She said, we can pay you a full fee of $35,000. I said, the Lord is able. Red Fox said, money can't buy you half of this, but can make a big down payment. So they took me over to the Georgia World Congress Center. When I got over there, I looked, and it was a very intimate setting, and people close to the stage. I said, excuse me, I had to go to the restroom, and I'd been sweating from the other speeches, so I had to cover the gray and stuff and get it all together, before going in there. And so when I came in there, she wanted everybody to know that she knew me. She said, there he is, Les Brown. And I walked up on the stage, she kissed me on the cheek, and I kissed her on the cheek and left this big black smudge on her face. So I didn't know what to do, so I just sat down. And the people said, wow, I could see their facial expression. So a lady came up and she said, what's that on your face? She said, I don't know. And so the lady gave her a mirror. She looked and saw the big black smudge on her face of when I kissed her. She said, how did this get here? I said, I don't know. You think maybe this rubs off? So now I use waterproof Mademoiselle, all right? Our brother's got to do what he's got to do. But Mike Williams, he saw something in me that I was not aware of, because I was living out of the things that was said about me, and I bought into them unconsciously. Remember, between the ages of 0 and 5, learned optimism, 26-year most exhaustive study on self-esteem. Talk about we form permanent personality characteristics during that time. We form a word in our heart. It's either yes or it's no. What I'm doing right now is interrupting your story. That's what my goal is. To expand your mind beyond that which has been conditioned and trained to think in a certain way. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I never thought in an hour and a half I could earn over $410,000 an hour and a half. Never thought that was possible for me. Never thought. For 14 years, I did not do this because I doubted myself. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. It took him 14 years to interrupt that story. We're taught, forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forth unto those things which are before. I was awakened in the middle of the night to a movie called Magnolia with Tom Cruise, and there was a powerful line that woke me up. He said, we might be through with our past, but our past is not through with us. How many of you know that's true? Raise your hands, please. How many of you know the things that can affect you that you don't even know about? Raise your hands, please. And so we have to work on ourselves. That's why training is important. Why? To expand our vision. And the agency owners, where are you? Stand up, please. Agency owners. Give them a round of applause for being here. These are leaders. Yeah. And those of you that work for those who stood up, I want you to thank them and saying, thank you for choosing me, because they have a lot of choices. But they saw something in you. And what I'd like to do for the agency owners and these guys here don't know it, but I want to do a special session with you. We can do a Zoom or however, and it's not going to cost you anything. And it's just to complement what you're doing, because you are in the position to bring the greatness out of people, to help people to go to a level that they don't even know that they can do right now. And as you look at yourself, look at your goals, and look at your dreams, let us say together, there's greatness in me. Everybody together, there's greatness in me. There's greatness all around me. See, when you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are, so you act like you don't have any. And the coach brings it out, and that's what the Masters program does. It challenges you. The people, the faculty, they have trained eyes. They can see what you can't see. Michael Jordan, he's a bad dude, but he never won a championship without Phil Jackson. Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest. He never won a championship without Angelo Dundee in his corner. And this guy, he saw my stuff, and he helped Les Brown go beyond Columbus, Ohio, to becoming a community activist. I ran for the Ohio legislature. I became a promoter of concerts. These guys came over from Indiana in 1973. That's Michael Jackson. I just saw a special on television. So they got a new album by Michael Jackson. These guys are making music from the grave. That's something special. That's Michael at 10 years old. He didn't know who I was going to become. I didn't know who they were going to become. Now that you shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you have greatness within you, guess what? You don't know whose hand you shook. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor is it in the heart of mankind what God has in store for that hand that you shook. And the hand that they shook, you have no idea. Sometimes we have to become intelligently ignorant. How many would like to be a voice of change in your community? Raise your hands, please. Yes, I had no idea that I could run for the Ohio legislature. Passed 14 bills my first term. I'm not saying this to impress you, but to impress upon you. You can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I'm ready to play a bigger game. Do that right now. Say, I'm ready to play a bigger game. And so I want to ask you, what's your why? What drives you? What is it? My mother has been my why. All that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I remember driving in an area of North Miami Beach deliberately. I saw this home that I knew my mother would love. And as we drove by, she said, Leslie, slow down. I said, what is it, Mama? She said, look at that beautiful house. Slow down, boy. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, if I lived in something like that, I would feel like Mrs. Rockefeller. And she was talking about John D. Rockefeller. And I said, you really love that? She said, yes. I had no idea how I was going to get it. I didn't have the money. I didn't have a contract on it. But when I saw it, I claimed it. That's why I ask you, what are you looking at? I drove down that street every day and I saw that. I looked at that. I saw me in there. I saw my mother there enjoying it. I want you to see yourself being a top producer. See yourself. My favorite book says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. Claim it. I have you saying certain things. Why? Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be established unto you. Your words are powerful. Got to monitor your words. And so I saw myself in that home. And I made provisions to make it happen. And then I started driving in that area of North Miami Beach again. And Mama said, Leslie, slow down. What is it, Mama? She said, boy, look at that home. Boy, if I lived in something like that. I said, you'll feel like Mrs. Rockefeller. She said, yes. I said, Mama, guess what? She said, what? I know the people who live there. She said, no. I said, I do. Would you like to go in and meet them? She said, yes. I pulled up to this beautiful mansion, and Mama was 78 at the time. I went around and I opened the door for her, and we started walking toward the home, and she said, Leslie? I said, yes, ma'am. Boy, you sure you know these people? I said, yes, Mama. Yes, ma'am, I do. And we got to the door, and I couldn't hold it anymore. I reached in my pocket, I put the key in the door, and I opened and I said, Mrs. Rockefeller, this is your home. She said, what are you talking about, Leslie? I said, Mama, this is yours. I bought this for you. It's fully furnished. Everything's paid for. She said, you didn't have to do that. I said, I know. And you didn't have to adopt us either. And you did. And she looked at me in disbelief, and she stuck her head in the door and said, anybody home? I said, Mama, come on in. It's your house. And as we walked around, she said, Leslie, nobody could have ever told me that something like this would happen for me. I remember when Mr. Moss said this lady was in Liberty City and had a set of twins, and she didn't want to separate y'all. And did I want to adopt y'all? I've never had any children. And I said, yes, I'll take both of them. And he drove me out there, 62nd Street and 17th Avenue. And she started crying. And she said, I went in and she looked so sad. She was sitting on a mattress and she had this light blue blanket she held y'all in. And she looked at me and eyes red, probably from crying, said, "Lady, will you take both of them?" And I said, "Yes." And she got up and she said, "You won't separate them?" I said, "No. No. Will you take good care of them?" I said, "Yes." And she kissed you both and gave you to me. My heart was beating so fast. And I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes, go, get out now." And Mr. Morse led me out, and I got in the car. Then I heard a scream. She said, "Wait, wait." And I said, "Oh, my God, she's changed her mind." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Let me kiss him one more time." And she kissed y'all one more time. She said, "Swear to God you'll take good care of him." She said, "I swear." She kept her word. She kept her word. As you think about people in your life, I remember when my brother called me and said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "No." His mom all right. No, Mama's been diagnosed with breast cancer, and it's metastasized to her stomach, her liver, her brain. I said, "No problem. I'll be home right away." "Leslie, you don't have to come home. We found a good nursing home for her." I said, "Listen to me. Don't you touch her." "No, she's not going to a nursing home. She took care of us. We will take care of her." "No, you just got elected to the Ohio legislature." "I don't care. I'll be there." And I left. I resigned from the Ohio legislature. I enjoyed politics, but I love my mama. And I rung the doorbell. A lady named Miss Mildred answered the door. And she said, Mildred, who's that at the door?" She said, "Mamie, it's Leslie." And I heard my mother said, "I knew he would come. I knew he would come." How many of you have someone in your life that you want them to know you'll be there for them? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, and so I took care of Mama. She was 89. She's a strong woman. She was powerful. One time I was on air, and I was playing a song by Aretha Franklin called "There's Nothing as Beautiful as a Mother's Love," and they didn't have ways for you to bleep conversations. And I opened up the microphone. My mother, she was a person who expressed herself. And I said, "Mama, I'm playing this song of Aretha Franklin, 'There's Nothing as Beautiful as a Mother's Love.'" I said, "How you doing?" She said, "Oh, baby," Mama lives in Miami. She said, "It's so hot here, I'm sweating like a hoe in church." I said, "Mama, I'm on the air." She said, "You know how hoes, when they hear the preacher preaching, they start sweating." I said, "Oh, don't explain it, Mama, please don't." Oh, my God. My mother was a piece of work. How many of you have children? Raise your hands, please. Excellent. This is my why. This is my why. How many of you want to build a legacy? Raise your hands, please. Yeah. I saw an interview with Steve Harvey. He's been attacked. I think Steve's a great guy. He said a friend of his went to the hospital to visit his grandmother. And she asked him a question that changed his life. She said, "Do you know who your great-grandfather is?" And the young man said, "No, I don't." And she said, "Because he didn't leave you anything. If he had left you something, you would know his name." I'm a grandfather, and I'm a great-grandfather. Trust me, my 3 great-grandsons will know my name, because I'm building a legacy for them now. And so, you see John Leslie, boy, that's boy. How many of you know sometimes your kids will have you saying, "You about to make me lose my mind up at here, up at here. You about to make me act a fool up at here, up at here." How many of you know that they could do that to you, all right? I mean, they have me calling on Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, Melchizedek, chanting Nomi Yoho Renge Kyo. But anyhow, I love them all. So this is my oldest daughter, Ona. She teaches Own Your Dream with Ona Brown. And then my youngest daughter, who runs the company, runs my life, Serena. And she is the CEO of the company. And Patrick, he usually travels with me, and John Leslie, and Samaya, their speakers. And Calvin, the oldest son, he is the one I want you to pray for. He had a stroke on his right side. No matter how old your kids get, they're still your children. He had a stroke, and he has to be fed with a tube through his stomach. And I'm determined that he will not finish the rest of his life like that. Whatever it takes, that's the value of having money. You can do more than, how many of you like to be able to do more than pray for a family member when they have a crisis? Raise your hands, please. Yes, and so that's where I am with that young man. I want you to pray for Calvin. I believe in the power of prayer. As you think about your goals and dreams, let us say together, it's possible. Together, please, it's possible. Yes, you got to believe, in spite of the circumstances, in spite of the adverse situations, in spite of the distractions of life, that it's possible that when you have goals and dreams, things are going to happen to you. Reason I want you to watch, it's not over till you win, because you're going to take some hits. My favorite book says, think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will have tribulations. Things are going to happen to you. Doctor looked at me and said 3 words no one wants to hear. You have cancer. Most feared word in 7 different languages. I said, can you give me a second opinion? Yes, and you're ugly too. I'm sorry, I got problems. Whatever. Anyhow. And so I had to deal with that. Had to come up with a battle plan to handle that. Stuff's going to happen to you and the people you care about. How many of you know that? Raise your hands, please. And so when you are an agent, if you are an agency owner, you have to deal with it all. And your mindset is crucial. It's major. Because when that happened to my son, it happened to me. You know, I prayed, God, don't let this happen to my son. Give it to me. I can handle this. I've gone through a lot. He's a young man. He's a good father. Please, please, give me a sign, you know. And I remember my mother having that prayer for me. Had no idea that that was in my future, praying for my own son. You have to create partnerships. That there are people who can help you in your business. Create partnerships, strategic partnerships. That's very important. Today, it's about consolidation, not trying to do it by yourself. Asking for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help and don't stop until you get it. I get over 3,000 requests a year. I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you when, as something that was said earlier, that when you build relationships fuels referrals. Write this down. Good word. Earn millions of dollars for you. We are never too busy for referrals. I love you, serving you, and any of your friends that's like you that can use what we provide. We're never too busy for referrals. Let me know. A friend of mine, Ryan Buffini, he built his whole business on referrals. And so when you can tell your story, you have strategic partnerships. Dr. Norman Vincent Field, the reason I went back to him, a reminder of the story, I always wanted to open for him. And so I had to open for him in Kankakee, Illinois. And the young man was backstage and said, Dr. Peel, how old are you? And he wrote the book, as you know, The Power of Positive Thinking. He said, Sonny, I'm 92. The young man looked at him and said, I don't know if I want to live to be 92. He said, that's because you've never been 91. He was a sharp dude, man. He spoke from his diaphragm. I loved him. You have something special. You can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. You have the ability to command your thoughts. Don't allow your mind to use you. Use your mind. How many of you have a college education? Raise your hands, please. Very good. How many of you ever gave a lecture at Harvard? Raise your hands. No hands up. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, that's in your future. I've done it 4 times with John Leslie as well. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, that's in your future, because you're an expert. That's in your future. You want to play a bigger game. To tell your story with confidence and competence, you own the industry. Let us say together, we own this industry. Together, everybody together, please, we own this industry. I own it. I study to show myself approved. I believe in what I'm doing. How many know that belief is important? Raise your hands, please. That belief is important, and you got to sell yourself on that every day. By telling my story, I was able to earn millions of dollars doing specials for PBS. I don't tell you this to impress you, but to impress upon you what's in your future. Who would have thought when you saw my brother and I with 2 pieces of sugar cane that I would receive the highest award from the National Speakers Association and inducted in the Hall of Fame? How many ever heard of Toastmasters? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, receiving the Golden Gavel Award from Toastmasters. Or when Toastmasters in '92 selected the top 5 speakers in the world: General Norman Schwarzkopf, Lee Iacocca, Robert Schuller, Paul Harvey. How many of you ever heard of them? Raise your hands, please. And there I am in the center. Shake someone's hand to your right and left and say, I'm going to get some sugar cane. I'm going to get some sugar cane. So as you look at yourself and look at your goals, let us say together, it's possible. I can live my dream. I can achieve more. It's necessary that I create achievement-driven, supportive relationships. It's necessary that I provide service beyond what is expected. As a lady became a dominant factor in her industry, they asked her, how did you get here? She said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. Our intention is to amaze them. As you look at yourself and look at your goals and dreams of owning the marketplace, customers vote with their dollars. Referrals comes out of exceptional service. When you amaze people with the service that you provide, you will get referrals. Shake someone's on your hand and right and left and say, I'm going to amaze my clients going forward. Do that right now. The next thing is, as you activate the greatness in you, amaze your clients with service, you want to create an achievement-driven, supportive, collaborative environment and culture where you're working together to create strategy and synergy that will allow you to have a breakthrough. One goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by itself. And so when you create a culture that's based upon achievement-driven, collaborative, supportive relationships that empowers you to create the next greatest version of yourself. You can't grow by yourself. You need somebody to challenge you. Iron sharpens iron. Surrounding yourself with people that you can learn from, that you can grow from. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. Is that real or not? Write this down. Only quality people. Who's in your ear? What are you looking at? What do you see? An optimist can look at obstacles and see nothing but opportunities. A pessimist can look at opportunities and see nothing but obstacles. Your mindset is crucial. Taking time to work on your mindset. When my business wasn't working, Mike said, Les, when a fish dies, it stinks in the head first. It's you. You got to align your mindset. You've convinced yourself that you can't do this. And I was at a conference, I'll never forget. And a guy spoke before me. How many ever felt somebody was talking to you? Raise your hands, please. And this guy's going back and forth. And he was making a point. Then he stopped, like something stopped him. He said, there's somebody here who loves to help people. And he said, you know who you are. There's somebody here who would like to be on this stage where I am, holding this microphone, talking to you. But you've convinced yourself that you can't do this. And you know who you are. And I want to say to you, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that prevents you from living your dream. And you know who you are. And then he knocked me down. He said, the reason I'm standing up here and you're seated out there, I represent the thoughts you have rejected for yourself. Wow is right. Wow, I started crying. I went out and I called Mike. I said, Mike. He said, Brown, are you all right? No, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me? I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Brownie, calm down. Listen, Mike, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. I want to take care of my mother. I want to take care of my children. I want to make something of myself. All my life, people compared me to my brother and my sister who graduated from the University of Miami. It takes me longer to get things than most people, but once I got it, Mike, I got it. Will you work with me? He said, yes, Brownie. I've always felt that you've had it. Here's something to write down. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I don't know you, but here's what I know about you. About Jay and the leadership and Mark and all the people here. They believe in you. The agents, owners, they believe in you. You're part of the team because they saw something special in you. Sometimes I shudder to think what would happen to me if I had not gone to hear Mike speak. He was a speaker that spoke to me. Everybody repeat after me, please. Live full. Live full. Everybody together. Live full. Live full. Die empty. Die empty. When doctors had told me my PSA, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, was 2,400 and cancer had metastasized to 7 areas of my body, I started smiling. And Dr. Golson said, did you hear what I said? I said, yes. He said, why are you smiling? I said, 7 is my lucky number. He said, what? I said, I was born February the 17th. I'm one of 7 children. My phone number is 702. Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. Naaman dipped himself in the River Jordan 7 times. I said, 7 is my lucky number. That means that cancer's getting the hell beat out of it right now. PSA for me only stands for positively staying alive. But I remember that night when I went home and I was reading some words by Dr. Howard Thurman. He wrote, deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine, the centering moment. He was a mentor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, and Albert Schweitzer. He said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. He said, but imagine if you will being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. We never saw your leadership. You never wrote that book. You never used your gifts. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what talents, what gifts, what abilities, what leadership will die with you. Miles Monroe, good friend I lost in a plane crash. He said, the wealthiest place on the planet is not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said, the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. There you'll find potential never realized. There you'll find books never written. There you'll find ideas and dreams never pursued. Maybe that's why one woman said in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. Or as Henry David Thoreau said, oh God, to reach the point of death only to realize that you've never lived. That you didn't scrape the surface of your potential. Repeat after me again, please. Everyone, live full. Die empty. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I'm going to live full. Do that right now, please. How many of you are going to live full? Raise your hands. Very good. Here's the next thing. Let us say together, it's possible. Everybody, it's possible. I can live my dream. It's necessary. I work on myself. I bring out the best in myself. I create a collaborative, achievement-driven culture. It's me. See, when you take ownership, Henry David Thoreau said the people who make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. It's me. When you take personal responsibility for your stuff, let us say together, it's hard. How many of you know it's hard? Raise your hands, please. It's hard. In this era, the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's, accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. I said, Mike, it's hard. How can I compete with people with PhDs and MBAs? How can I compete with Tony Robbins and he has millions of dollars backing him? How can I compete with people who have experience that I don't have? He said, Brownie, all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. You can learn. Write this down. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Put it someplace that you can see. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Give yourself a pass. Focus on the competition. Talk about what you don't have going for you. If you do what is easy, complain, as opposed to looking for ways to win. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, find a way to win. Snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I can do hard. Do that right now. And the final step is, you got to be hungry. Everybody, let us say together, you got to be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry do what they know, not what they feel. People that are hungry believe, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry believe, zero excuses. People that are hungry are relentless. They're unstoppable. They practice the 3-yard rule. They talk to anybody that's within 3 feet of them. People that are hungry believe in TTP. Talk to people. And if that doesn't work, TTMP. Talk to more people. People that are hungry, they make it happen. Mr. Washington said, what do you want to do with your life, young man? I said, I want to buy my mother a home. How do you plan to do that? I said, I'd like to become a disc jockey. He said, you got to be hungry. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Here's a set of cassette tapes by Earl Nightingale called The Strangest Secret in the World. I want you to listen to this. Program your mind, young man. Be ye not conformed to this world. Transform yourself by renewing your thoughts. I'm going to introduce you some tools that will help you to motivate yourself and your staff. He said, I want you to go to the car, here are my car keys, and listen to Paul Harvey. Why? He's the world's greatest communicator. No one can tell a story like Paul Harvey, young man. Anybody ever heard of Paul Harvey? Raise your hands. You know what I'm talking about. I went in his car 12 noon to listen to him tell the rest of the story. There's nobody like Paul Harvey. I listened to him. As you look at the goals and dreams that you are looking forth to achieving, enroll in this program, the Master's Program, so that you can master what you do, so that you can have the coaching that will bring out the greatness in you. And so I did that. I studied Paul Harvey. I studied Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. You can control your thoughts. You have thoughts. Your thoughts don't have you. I studied Zig Ziglar. If you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. I studied Jim Rohn. When the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. I studied Winston Churchill. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. You have to study the masters. You want to be around the coaches that can help you interrupt your thinking, expand your vision of what you can begin to do to make this the greatest year and you can finish strong. How many of you ready to finish strong? Raise your hands. Fantastic. If you're serious, you're enrolled in the program. And so he told me I had to be hungry. And he told me to practice 3 things. 1, train myself. Have a ritual, young man, that you train your thinking every day. According to psychologists, we think 30 to 40,000 thoughts a day. He said there are many distractions in life. Right now, there's a lot of noise out here. Don't worry about what's going on in the White House. Worry about what's going on in your house. Focus on what it is that you are doing. Keep the main thing the main thing. There will always be distractions in life, number 1. Number 2, surround yourself with OQP, only quality people. Only quality people. Many people will never achieve their goals because they have too many toxic, negative, energy-draining people in their lives. Les, can I change them? No, it's a full-time job changing yourself. And there's some people that are so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. Oh, behave, whatever. And the next thing, get a coach. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. Somebody with trained eyes. Somebody that has your best interest. Somebody that will bring out the best in you. Somebody that will introduce processes and systems that allows you to have the breakthrough. Because if you knew how to do it, you would have done it already. Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. I had to concede that I didn't know and I thought I knew. I had to concede, and I had to comply. When Mike took over and started helping me to go to that next level, I had to comply with the process that he had created for me. See, the system that the Master's Program works if you work it. And that brought about change for me. It brought about change. And so I went to the radio station that Mr. Washington said, look, I trained Milton Butterball Smith. Don't forget you got to be hungry. Tell him I sent you there. You want to be a disc jockey? I said, yes, sir. I went to WMBM on Miami Beach. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, young man, have any journalism in your background? I said, no, sir, I don't. You have any background at all? I said, no, sir. He said, I'm sorry, we don't have any job for you. How many have ever been rejected? Raise your hands, please. I was devastated with rejection. I went back. I said, Mr. Washington. They said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative, they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Go back again. I went back again. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. I know what your name is. Weren't you here yesterday? I said, yes, sir, I was. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? I said, yes, sir, you did. He said, then why are you back today? I said, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. He said, no one was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was singing for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterfall. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. He said, I know what your name is. Weren't you here the last 2 days? I said, yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no the last 2 days? I said, yes, sir. Then why are you back today? I said, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. He said, no one got sick or died. No one was laid off or fired. Now, don't you come back here again. Everybody repeat after me, please. Be unstoppable. I came back the next day. Hello, Mr. Butterfall. How are you? He looked at me betrayed. He says, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book says, the greatest among you will be your servant. How many of you are serious about your goals? Raise your hands, please. Write this down. Provide more service than you get paid for. Provide more service than you get paid for. And you'll be surprised at how your referrals. I'm never too busy for referrals because people know that you care. I'm never too busy for referrals. When you take care of the few, the masses will follow. I'm telling you what I know. I didn't have millions of dollars invested in me. Only 1% of the planet make $1 million. I've done it 65 times. I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you. I only attract millionaires or millionaires in training. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring up your energy level. And so they hired me as an errand boy for the disc jockeys. Write this down. Give before you ask. Give before you ask. Give service. Let people know who you are. Provide information that's not ordinarily given and provided. Give before you ask. So you can create confidence in you and trust. Trust is very important. People are very skeptical today. They are researching everything online. And so I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I'd go get their lunch and their dinner, and I'd stand in the control room watching them work their hands on the control board, knowing my time will come. Let us say together, I expect to win. And on the weekends, when the disc jockeys parked their cars in the parking lot, I would clean them inside out, and I would wax them. They'd come out to the parking lot and say, hey, who did this? I did, sir. Why? I just wanted to help out. I said, whoa, look here. Donna Ross and the Supremes are coming to town. The Four Tops and the Temptations. Here are my driver's license. Here are my car keys. I want you to pick them up and take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. I said, it'd be my pleasure, sir. I was driving these entertainers all over Miami Beach in the disc jockeys, big, long Cadillacs. Didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like I had some. And then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. Rockin' Roger got so drunk he could not complete the show. He began to slur his words. He's about to fall off the chair. And there I was looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I was saying, drink, rock, drink. Drink, rock. I'd have gone and get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager and answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes, and I called him back, and I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't you say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get behind that turntable. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. Give the old man a round of applause. Shake someone's hand on your right and left in front of you and behind you and say, you got to be hungry. Do that right now. Say, you got to be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. I'm looking forward to working with the agency owners. And how many of you like to realize that motivation is something you got to do on a regular basis? Raise your hands, please. Very good. So here's what we're going to do is that I want you to, we have these products in the back. We only have around 60. It's available to motivate yourself and your staff. And we use Lightspeed for the Les Brown Unlimited. And some people love the power purpose. I was talking to someone about that. Choosing your future, those are strong pieces. But I want you to text WIN to 21777. 7 is my lucky number. And receive a special download for my son John Leslie and I. Okay, something that you can't get online that I'm sure you will enjoy. Text WIN to 21777. And I'm going to also send you 7 principles of storytelling. How many of you like to have that? Raise your hands, please. How to tell your story strategically. And the other one is 9 principles of life enrichment. I'll be sending, that's the second thing that I'll be sending to you. I want to leave this with you. As you think about your goals and dreams, you have the opportunity to invest in yourself. And that as you think about the investing in yourself, Warren Buffett was asked a question in the middle of the recession, what's the most important investment you can make? And here's a guy that has billions of dollars in real estate, billions of dollars in the stock market. He said the most important investment you can make is in yourself. And so the ASA program is an investment in yourself. I like to leave this with you. I don't know what your goals are. Here's what I do know, based upon my own experience. You have something special. You have greatness in you. We live in the greatest country in the world that gives us an opportunity to manifest our greatness. I don't know what you want to do. I know everything I've said, you already know it. It's already a part of you. I haven't said anything that you don't know. It's common sense, but not common practice. So I'd like to leave this with you, something my mother loved. Leslie, yes, ma'am, mama. Say that thing for me, boy, that makes me feel good. I dedicate this to you, to your finishing strong, to your dream, and to the next greatest version of yourself. And it says simply this: if you want a thing bad enough, to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish or gold, sickness or pain or body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. You have something special. You have greatness in you. God bless you. God bless your dream. God bless America. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much.